Hi everyone, Dave and Amanda from Open2view in Wellington. I look after Central City and Amanda is out in Lower Hutt. We just wanted to talk to you today about photography and getting your property photo ready. I know there's plenty of stuff out in the media about this kind of thing, but we just wanted to have a little bit of an informal discussion and throw some ideas around, some hints and tips with photography in houses and what we've come across. Amanda, what do you think in terms of the properties that you go into? Are they ready for photos when you get there?
Well, the majority are. The majority are ready. Most agents are pretty proactive at getting their vendors to have the property ready.
Yeah.
The occasional ones aren't ready, which is quite frustrating.
When you say aren't ready, what kinds of things kind of come up again and again?
The main issue would probably be the ones that are being renovated and you've still got tradesmen there, painters, things everywhere. Yeah. Those are the frustrating ones because you can't just quickly tidy that up and be good to go.
Yes.
Those are the ones that you're going to have to probably reschedule and come back to, which is frustrating when we've booked our time. And
yeah, I had one of those yesterday actually down on the terrace, and it's a whole complex and they're all getting reclad and stuff, and there was tradesmen's vehicles everywhere.
Yeah,
it was an absolute nightmare.
You can't shoot them when they're
no. So I did what I could, and the agents, were pretty good in that respect, but I'm expecting to have to go back and do shots. So probably in that situation the agent could have made contact earlier or talked to the vendor and just got an update before saying yes.
Or even if the agent gets there an hour before us, and then they can actually ring us and say, hey, it's not ready, and save us the time from getting to the property and then not be able to do it.
It always seems to be a rush. So from a home seller perspective, always allow that extra amount of time to get your place ready, because we turn up and there's always somebody red-faced, like
exhausted
and a little bit nervous about what's going to happen next and whether the property is ready. What type of things get missed or need work generally if it's not ready?
So we've got the renovated ones, but then you've also got the tenanted ones. Tenanted ones are always an issue for us, for the agent. A good tip I've been told is to say to the tenants, if they're not happy about the property being sold, to actually have it really tidy, because then the person buying the property might actually keep them on as a tenant. So that's a really good tip, to get them to tidy up, because otherwise they go, I don't want the house sold, I'm just going to leave it messy, and then we get there and have to just take it as it is.
Would you suggest to a landlord who's wanting to sell that they just hold off and get the tenants to move out before selling?
Absolutely. I did it myself.
As an ideal case?
I did it myself. I got the tenants out, freshened it up, staged it, and that's the ideal situation. The house is really well presented, then you can, you're going to get
and the access is easier for the agent. The house can be cleaned correctly. You're not having to work around tenants who might be a little bit untidy or not happy with the invasion into their space.
And if you time it right, we did one last year where tenants moved out, 10 days later we had it on the market. So if you can time it right, you're not going to lose a lot of time. And
I would have thought that in a tidier position, especially if you take it to the next level and get the place staged, that you're going to get way more money than you are losing in a few weeks' rent.
I think so. I'm not an agent,
thousands of dollars more.
I've seen examples of houses sold, then staged, nothing else done, and they got an extra $60,000. So
for the sake of
it's a no-brainer.
$1,000 or $2,000 even in lost rent.
Absolutely. And then it's probably the vendor houses that are they're almost ready, but they're just not quite. And then that's when the agent kind of needs to come in and go, right, you need to declutter this. Quite often if the proactive agents will get in there half an hour before us, they'll have moved the rubbish bins, put the toilet seats down, fixed the curtains, made sure the beds are nice.
There is definitely a difference between the style of agents when they're at work, and especially in that pre-marketing period. there's a lot that needs to get done now compared to how it used to be.
And some vendors, just their idea of tidy is not the same as our idea.
True.
So that's up to the agent.
Yes.
To. We actually have a pre-sale checklist that we can provide to agents and vendors that just has all those things on there.
So it's also a part of our process to educate our agents, the people that work with us, to get the marketing going, so that they can in turn, pass that knowledge and educate their home sellers. Because the home sellers, this might be the first time they've been on the market in 7 to 10 years. They don't know the process. They don't know the expectation.
And they may have decluttered.
Yes.
Their idea of decluttering is not quite the same as ours.
I always say that. I always say that to people. I said, now I'm walking in the door, and please, because you always got to be respectful that this is somebody's home, and it is quite an invasion for an agent and photographers and media people, videographers to come through. But it does warm them up a little bit to the marketing process, and there's going to be a lot more people through the property at that point,
So I think quite often vendors aren't home.
Right.
Then it's the agent and myself.
Yeah.
We just have free rein to move a few things, put them straight back, and then it's not insulting to the vendor.
Do you mind the vendors being home?
I don't mind them being
what's your call?
there. Some of them are really helpful, and they come along and they go, right, what do you want me to move?
Right.
Others kind of hover, and that's and you feel a bit like you're intruding on their space. So I think it's up to the agent to kind of gauge whether the vendor's really happy about moving things, and if they're not, then it's probably best they go for a walk.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for me the ideal situation is an empty staged home.
Oh, absolutely.
With no vendors, no tradespeople, no agent. So that's an empty house, and it's staged and ready to go. I still quite like having an agent there, because sometimes you want to say, hey, do you want this door open? Because you don't want them to come back to you the next day and say, hey, I wanted that shot with the doors open. Yeah.
So, I prefer an agent being there.
I always feel like I do my best photography work or videography work if the place is completely empty.
Yeah. And you're not under any pressure then.
Not under any pressure, and you work it through. You're not being sidetracked or having to work around people and come back and do rooms, because you can start missing stuff, especially in bigger places. Yes. If there's an agent having a conversation about marketing with the vendor, which should have happened outside of this time, but they're kind of wrapping it all up into one, or getting paperwork signed, I don't think that's the time for that process, but that's just me. And you kind of miss a room and come do the whole house and then remember to come back and do that space,
Although I have been to a few houses where, well, maybe not a few, but the agent hasn't been there and I've completely missed an ensuite.
Oh, well, yeah,
I didn't see that behind the door.
There can be a little bit of that too.
Had one yesterday.
Or doors opening like they're cupboards.
Yes, and it was an upstairs yesterday.
Right,
there was this little narrow staircase in a room up there, and it looked like a cupboard. So, sometimes you need those pointed out too.
Some of the agents that I work with who provide a lockbox on the property, they're generally empty and staged. Will send me an email saying, now don't forget to open door at the end of because there's actually an ensuite in there. So you get some of those clues. But generally I think it can be a little bit stressful for owners with a photographer or videographer there. So I would call it and say, generally, if you're an agent, get your vendor to clear out for an hour or so. If you're a home seller, don't be offended if we ask you to kind of step back or head into the garage for a while, or a study or something like that, just so that we're not catching, especially when we're doing video or 3D virtual tours. Cameras rotating and sweeping, and you're going to get caught. You're going to be in the videos. There's nothing worse for us to come back, look at the footage we've got, and there's a reflection of somebody in a mirror.
Person looking out the window at you.
And that's also with the drone. So the drone is working outside, and there's always a tendency for homeowners and agents to try and spot it, because it's quite interesting, But
best to come and stand with us. Stand with us, you can watch it, and you're not going to get in the shots.
That's a good call. In terms of externals and dealing with drone shots and exterior of the property, what do you think are some of the things that needs to be ship shape, See, for me, hoses. I hate hoses on the sides of property, especially if it's the front of the property. Rubbish bins and driveways, no.
Recycling.
Put those into your garage, or use that back part of the house you know is not going to be photographed.
Yeah.
And there's always a part of the house that is kind of like not the best side. That's the place you tuck all the dog bowls, toys, kids' stuff, bikes, if they're not in the garage, toys and rubbish bins.
Clothes off the washing line. Pegs off the washing line's helpful. Not all.
It's certainly no washing on the washing line on photography day.
That's the worst nightmare.
Because we have to take it down and then we have to try and put it back up in the same way. Which is a nightmare. Interiors.
Toilet seats down.
Toilet seats down. If we're in the bathroom, do you move much stuff?
Quite often, if there's a lot of people put nice coloured towels in, but then you go to take the shot and they're
they're in the way,
and they come out big in the foreground, so we have to remove them. So,
so general rule is as minimal as possible. Toothbrushes,
away.
Soaps,
away.
Anything in the shower.
Away if possible, especially bright colours. Bright coloured puffs. Put them away.
What usually happens for me is that the hallway, generally outside of bathrooms and that kind of thing, is generally not photographed, so that becomes like a staging area. I was going to say dumping area, but staging area for all of this stuff. So generally I would go into a house, and unless it's been staged already by professionals, there's too much stuff in it still. So everything of personal effects comes out of the bathroom for me. That vanity has to be clear. Clean the taps, clean the surfaces, clean the mirrors.
Clean the mirror, it always shows up.
And make sure that all the light bulbs work.
And bathroom scales out,
rubbish bins, anything under a vanity.
You can see it.
Anything in a shower, at the end of the shower, in the cubicle, take it out. And give everything a good clean, all the glasswork a good clean.
Same for the kitchen. Clean the taps. Tea towels, unless they're pretty. Dishcloths, dish brushes, dishwashing detergent. Put
all
it all
of that
in the
stuff
cupboard.
should be away. We regularly get to properties and they've just done the dishes and it's sitting on the dish rack. Just there.
And magnets on the fridge.
Oh yes.
Take
everything
them
off the fridge and give it a clean. Give the oven door a clean and the stove tops and all surfaces a clean, including the basin area. I would say as minimal as possible, so make it minimal. Walk out of the room, walk back in and make it more minimal again.
And a lovely fresh bunch of flowers always works a treat.
Some of the agents that I deal with bring their own flowers, which is lovely. I've got a few Ray White agents that always try to find yellow flowers, so brand colour. Indoor, outdoor. So especially at this time of the year, things can look a little bit mossy and cold and damp and unlooked after, if you like, and that's just winter. But we're trying to photograph and give buyers a bit of a vibe. So think about tidying that courtyard, even if you're not using it. Your outdoor setting, have that there, but just don't leave it bare. You know, put some cushions on the chairs and maybe something on the table, even if it's a couple wine glasses and a bottle or something.
I quite often say it's freezing cold outside, but let's open the doors, put some blue sky in and pretend it's sunny.
And the barbecue. Clean the barbecue, get that barbecue cover off. So we're setting it up like it's the height of summer. We can lighten the photos and make them nice and bright and work. So don't worry about that side of things. So
does that bring us to weather?
It does,
weather.
yes.
Yes, right.
So we can do a lot more than you think when it comes to weather. And unless it's heavy fog or absolutely torrential rain, and even torrential rain we can work in, if we really, really have to, it's a go. So don't be put off because the weather is not perfect.
The only thing we can't get rid of is the wet ground, but sometimes that can make it look nice and clean and shiny, and it can actually enhance the photos. Put the blue sky and lighten up the photos, it's fine.
So when you say put the blue sky in, what are you doing there? Are you photoshopping some blue sky into a grey photo?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of our points of difference with Open2view is that it's always blue in Open2view. So we lighten those photos. We use a technique that allows layered exposures to be able to get all the detail in those shadow areas, straighten all the verticals so you don't have bendy walls, and allow the detail in all of the windows with window pulls. So that's quite an important difference with our...
If you're advertising a house with a view, you want to take a photo where you can see the view.
Totally.
You don't want an overexposed window where you get this bright blob in the window.
That's right.
You want to be able to see that view of the harbour.
Yeah.
So open to view will always, you'll see that view.
Yeah. Is there any other kind of tips or anything that you can think of that you could add to this?
No,
I think we've pretty much covered it for the moment.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. And
if you've got this far.
if you've got this far. We're hoping to do a few more of these kind of informal chats just to give you an idea of the process in behind real estate marketing, because I think a lot of it is hidden until you actually come to put your house on the market, and then suddenly it's all in front of you.
And if you've got anything you want us to talk about, let us know. And we
leave a message or comment.
Do some more.
And feel free to share this video with your friends and anybody you think would be find of interest. Thanks a lot.
See ya.